So I would like to welcome our guest today, who probably needs no introduction, but that's my job, so I'll introduce him. This is Colin Mochrie from Whose Line Is It Anyway? Thank you for joining us today, Colin.
Thank you for having me.
We're super psyched.
We are. So the first question we want to ask is, how has the pandemic affected your normal life?
Yeah, I guess like it's affected everyone. I mean, just before things went horribly wrong, I was doing 2 tours and shooting a movie. So I needed a rest. I didn't think a pandemic would be the way to go, but it seemed to work out for me. It's, so odd. You're doing 3 different things, and then all of a sudden you're in the vulnerable section of a pandemic. So it's been nice. I got to spend time with my family, and but now you get a little antsy, and you kind of want to get back to work.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how do you feel Canada's response has been compared to the U.S.? We're down here, we're your southern neighbor, and we've had an interesting approach.
Yeah. Listen, I love America. I have a lot of good friends. I am not a fan of the current administration. I think a lot of mistakes have been made. And, there were some, I think, mistakes made in Canada too. But the difference was, it seemed to be rectified quickly. People admitted there were mistakes and changed it. So I think right now we're in a better place than you guys. But, we still have people who want to go out there a little too early before knowing what the second wave could be like. And again, not to generalize about young people, but it seems like some of the younger people, a couple of days ago, they're slowly reopening the city. And there were just like hundreds of young people at this park. And they were saying, we're young, we're bored. And it's like, well, yeah, I think I'd rather be bored than, dying. Maybe that's just me.
Right. Well, that's like us. We were bored and we decided to start harassing celebrities about their favorite album. So
that's a positive thing.
Yeah, right. We're not uninfected. I think America's motto now at this point is double down.
Yeah, I hope. I don't know. Well, I mean, I hope everything works out in some way. But yeah, it's weird how experts' advice seems to be. Well, it doesn't. It's not. I don't like that advice, so I'm not going to take it. It's like, well, and you think of, I think of my grandparents and even my parents during World War II. They were living in Britain at the time, so they were going through rationing. They're getting bombed every night. They were going through things like that, and they sort of, well, let's just get through it. Although, to be fair, it is hard to get bored when you're being bombed.
Yeah. I can live with that without that kind of excitement.
Yeah. So you shared with us Albert Brooks's "A Star Is Bought," the 1975 album. So thought you'd want to tell us a little bit about that.
This was I had a friend who had, we were in theater school together, and he had just a collection of records that nobody else had. He liked the mainstream stuff, but he also had like weird, groups like Gefilte Joe and the Fish, and just these weird things. One of them was, we had just got to Al Brooks' Real Life. It was like his first movie. And he found this album, so we played it. And the concept of the album is he wants to make this record a big success. So he's made a cut. Every cut is for a different radio station to be played on. So he has one that is a classical where he says he's found the lyrics to Bolero, one of the sexiest songs ever written. And so he sings Bolero with these lyrics. He does a talk-in show where he's all the callers, and himself answering the questions. He does one that he says is some of his best prenatal work, which is like a 1940s sort of Jack Benny radio show. So it was just funny and tickled us, and it was one of those records I just remember playing over and over again.
Do you have a favorite track off of it?
I think the Bolero track. I think we actually all kind of memorized it and would sing it. And, you know, this was a time, we were in theater school, so we were 20s. And, you know, the people we hung out with didn't have a deep classical knowledge. So Bolero was, I think maybe had just been in the soundtrack of the movie 10. So that's how people sort of knew it. But yeah, that was definitely my favorite one.
Now, would you say that Brooks has been a major influence on you and your career?
I don't know if he's been an influence, but he's someone who I've always loved, like modern romance and Defending Your Life were movies that I really enjoyed. I mean, he has a different persona from something I don't think I could pull off his persona. There are the people I steal from are the people who I think, oh, I could do a good job stealing their stuff. No one would really know. But if I took Albert Brooks's stuff, people would know.
Good. I was thinking about all the times that he's been on The Simpsons. Crazy.
Yeah. Oh no, and he's sort of branched out in the last couple of years, like doing dramatic roles, like doing very sinister dramatic roles, which it's been great to see.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I don't know enough about the mindset of a comedian to say, but it seems like that's a line that a lot of comedians can straddle easier than you would think.
Yeah, I mean, people say that, you know, to get into comedy, you have to have a darkness somewhere. I don't fully agree with that, but yeah, maybe there is a little bit of darkness. And it's also, I think, drama is easier than comedy. It's rare you find super dramatic actors doing successful comedy movies. Every once in a while, yeah, but I would more common for dramatic or comedic actors to do something dramatic, like Adam Sandler did with Uncut Gems. Is that new? Great performance. So, yeah, comedians got more going for them.
I think I had an English teacher in high school who said, and this always stuck with me, that comedy is just tragedy that doesn't awaken your profound sympathies.
Yeah, that's true. I think Albert Brooks said, comedy is when you fall through a manhole and die. Tragedy is when I cut my... So it's all point of view.
That makes sense. It was funny. So I was in prepping for this. I was taking a look through your filmography on IMDb. I didn't realize you were on Kung Fu: The Legend Continues.
Yes, one of my many. What was I on that? I think I was the bus driver.
The bus driver, yeah.
Yeah. A friend of mine was producing the show and said, hey, you want to, it's just like a small part, it'd be like half a day. And I said, sure. Wasn't doing anything, so sure. My scene was not with David Carradine. I'm trying to think, what the hell was I doing there? Oh, yeah. But yeah, just one of the many shows I show up in and adding absolutely nothing to the plot.
You got a good train spotting moment. There's Colin.
Yep, that's it.
So post-pandemic, you were touring the country doing 2 different shows when all of this went down. Scared Scriptless with Brad Sherwood. So improv show, I'm presuming?
Yeah, it's sort of, we say it's sort of a live version of Whose Line without the tall guy or the black guy.
And you were also doing Improv.
Improv, yes.
With Asad Mecki. So what was I'm assuming that's improv and hypnosis together.
That's it. He is a master hypnotist. He would bring 20 people up from the audience, hypnotize them, get it down to the best 5, and then they and I would form an instant improv troupe and do an improv show.
Wow.
Wow.
That must,
It's terrifying. It was terrifying, but a lot of fun.
Now, is that exhausting doing that on in a live setting on the road?
You know what? I wish I could say yes. I wish I could say, yeah, I work really hard. It's like 2 hours a night for on weekends. It's really hard to complain about. I guess mentally it's tiring, but when you love it, it's just, I'm always amazed at how quickly it goes by. It's no work at all, really. I make it look tougher than it is.
It's funny you say that, because I remember I used to watch when Drew Carey was the host. We used to watch that religiously, my wife and I. And I remember on a couple occasions, I'm like, these guys are having way too much fun.
Oh yeah, no, we have.
This isn't work. They're enjoying themselves.
Yeah, it's a really hard show to top. I mean, we'd come in an hour before taping. We do the show, and it's basically you're just goofing around with your friends, and then we go for a drink after, and that was it. And Whose Line was 3 weekends out of the year, and that would be the whole season. So, yeah, it wasn't work at all.
Well, hey, man, if you can get that gig, that's the gig
exactly.
you have, right?
Yeah.
Keep looking for those.
So I know it's hard to answer this because we're still in a big period of uncertainty where the world's trying to open back up again. Do you see those shows going back on the road in the future? Or
I know they're trying to work it out somehow with theaters, with social distancing. I guess their thing is trying to work it out so that they can fill a third of the house and still make it safe. I don't know. I guess we won't know until we try it and see how that goes. It seems like it would be hard for the theaters to make money. So I mean, right now Brad and I are working on a sort of a Zoom improv thing, and our booker has sort of connected with some of the theaters in the U.S. to have sort of a closed Zoom performance for their patrons. So the patrons who pay, they'd sort of get a ticket, and they'd be the only ones who could see the show. So we're trying to figure out whether that's going to be the new normal. Also, I mean, we do so much traveling, and airlines have been totally affected by this. So I'm guessing once that's over, airplane tickets are not going to be as well, they were never cheap, but not as low as they were. So it's just another expense. So, we hope for the best, but yeah, everything seems up in the air right now.
Yeah. And that's probably that's that anxiety everyone's feeling. We're going to go out and crowd up in the sun just because we don't know what else is going to happen.
Exactly.
And you're currently wrapping, well, you're not wrapping up, but airing the 16th season of Whose Line on the CW. Are there plans for a 17th season?
Who knows? I told you how easy this show was.
Yeah.
This season could not have been any easier because they had episodes left over from last year when we filmed. So this season, we didn't even make it to the studio. They already had the season from stuff we'd done before.
Oh,
I can't imagine it getting any easier than that. So,
right.
So we'll see. I mean, who knows? This show just seems to keep going. It does have a fan base, so who knows?
Yeah, the first time I ever saw you was my parents dragging me in to watch the reboot season, I guess I'll call it, and we sat there for like probably 2 days straight watching you guys. So
I'm really proud of the way it sort of got improv out into the mainstream, and I mean, it gave us all careers, which we're all thankful for, and and all of us are like touring basically on the basis of the show. So God bless Whose Line.
Any well, again, I know these it's hard to speculate. Any thoughts on getting the original cast together? We talked to Greg Proops a couple of weeks ago, which is why it's on my mind. Like I don't want to say the A-team, but the original, the core guys.
Yeah, it's who knows? I mean, we've all been sort of doing different tours. We've had the core group with Aisha. Getting Drew will be a whole other thing. So, I mean, I say never. Who knows? Maybe there should be just a big celebration of whose line is it anyway, and get all the hosts from the British version up to Aisha, and then yeah, we should do that. I mean, we just had, it was just the 30th anniversary of the British Whose Line 2 years ago, and we all went over and did 4 live shows at the Royal Albert Hall, which is bizarre when you think about it. It doesn't seem right, but it was amazing, just an amazing experience.
It's really cool. Well, hopefully, I'm hoping when we get out of this that you know, people in the media keep talking about how things are going to change. I think we've got some opportunity to do new and exciting stuff, and for celebrate what we had before. So yeah, who knows what that's going to look like.
I hope so. I mean, I love that even though this has been insane, it hasn't extinguished people's creative output. People have been coming up with different ways of getting their stuff out there, and different ways of playing with the medium right now. So, and I hope people also now have a better appreciation of the arts, because it was kind of the first thing everybody turned to once they were stuck in the house, whether it's movies or concerts or whatever. So
yeah, and, if we want more of that, we gotta get past this. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, we've been joking like 2 months ago when we first started our podcast, like just for shits and giggles, I said to Aaron, "Oh, what if we got celebrities to come on and talk?" And if you told me I would be talking to Colin Mochrie 2 months later, I would have laughed at you. And here we are.
Yeah. I'm here to make everyone's dreams come true.
Thank God. America needs you right now, Colin.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping to get back there at some point.
Well, I want to thank you very much for taking time out. I would say your busy schedule, but I know, like,
let's say I'm busy. My house has never been so clean in its entire life.
See, I'd like to say the same thing, but I've been putting off chores, doing a podcast. I'm staying busy. Sorry, hon.
Nice.
But thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And take care.
Thank you.
You too. Stay safe.